that the coronavirus doesn't touch.
All seen Black Lives Matter demonstrations.
Oppression is brought out.
So unfortunately, because I just feel like we're going down this road, we've been down this road before.
Things like we've had
Hello and welcome to Your Voice. My name is Gabriel Renu. Today we're discussing image and the role of social media. We'll be asking how can social media and the millions of its personalities worldwide be regulated, and how can they use their powers of influence for good? It's a topic with plenty to like, and here to share their opinions with me this week I have artist and health and fitness coach Amdi McKernis and scriptwriter Lady Paulus. Thank you both for joining. Lady, do people online, are they judged by the image they portray on their social media?
Well, of course. I think, especially if you think about platforms like Instagram, it's all about aesthetics. It's about how you want your life to be perceived by other people. And in doing so, other people are able to kind of, I guess, project what they want to see.
Right.
They want to see nice lighting, they want to see cute cupcakes in cafes. But I mean, most of all, they want to see, I guess, what they want, what they're desiring.
Absolutely. So Amdi, so is it fair to make that comparison? Because some people have used filters, some people have used all sorts of stuff to kind of make that picture look picture perfect,
Yes,
pardon
right.
the expression. Is it fair to judge yourself based on that?
Personally, I don't think so.
Right.
I don't think it's fair. Social media is big in the world today.
Right.
It's pretty much the forefront of everything right now. But I still feel like there's people out there that maybe don't want to be on social media. There's people out there that are on social media and, you know, competing with everyone else just to, you know, show a certain standard.
Right.
And I don't really agree with that personally, because from my own perspective, I just feel like if you focus on yourself and you focus on what you want to channel out to the world, that is the gold mine there.
Right.
You know, because you have to stick to what you're doing. Because I mean, it's like Nipsey Hussle said. You know, I'm gonna quote Nipsey Hussle because I'm a big fan of Nipsey Hussle. It's not a sprint; it's a marathon.
Right.
Right. So you're gonna keep doing this over and over again. There's a continuation. So why try and compete with everyone else? My father used to say, your only competition is yourself.
It's yourself, yeah.
You have to focus on yourself. You have to do what you feel like is right. That's gonna lead you to that path at the end of the destination.
Okay. So, ladies, some of these young people who follow some of their influencers, some of the celebrities, how much pressure do they get from these images that they see of these celebrities that allows that, you know, for them to have that perfect image, perfect look, perfect this? How much is that? How much pressure do they get? And why do they feel pressured by these celebrities?
Well, I guess it would be subjective how much pressure they get. It depends on them as a person. You know, growing up, it's them growing up and seeing what they want, and I guess what they have always seen. It's something that has molded them, and I guess in the space of the social media and social platforms, how much it influences them, it really depends on them and their mentality, I would say. And in sense of how social media and influencers are able to push that onto other people, I guess it's really down to them too. It's really complicated to say. Like I said, it's subjective.
Right.
You can't. It's not a catch-all. It's really one by case by case. But I guess in the sense, a lot of people do have that feeling that they do want to see something perfect, and maybe not something perfect, but something beautiful. Like I said, at the end of the day, and I will counter what you said, you were talking about how, you know, there's an end goal and you're going to do it over and over again, but how long does it take you to post an image? Like, how long do you really think about it? After you've taken multiple images, probably, and I'm not even talking selfies, then you think about it. Is this the kind of thing that I want to put out there? Maybe I need to edit it a little bit. What else do I want to say? Then you think about captions. What kind of caption is appropriate? What kind of caption fits me? It's all curated.
Right, yeah.
It's a curated thing. It's not sporadic. You're not just randomly posting things, you're posting things with intent, which means that there is something behind that. And that is something that can influence people depending on what you put out there.
Absolutely.
So I definitely think that there are pressures.
Yeah,
It just depends where that person is coming from and you as a person, how you receive it.
Yeah. So do you post for intent?
Do I post?
When you post, do you post with intent?
Well, to some degree, but I post what I'm comfortable with. You know what I mean? Like, because, like Lady mentioned, you know, you look at what you're about to post. You're like,
Think
okay,
about
is the lighting well? You think about it. You do all of that. But there's some people that just post. Do you know what I mean? And there's a lot of people that post. They've got a pretty good number of following, and they just post, and people like it. It may not even be the best post, but a lot of people like it. It gets 1 million likes because of who that person is supposed to be. And on the other hand, there's people that post, and you know they want to put all types of effects and lighting and all of that, and still don't get the number of likes. So it just varies on where you see it. All I'm trying to say is, for me, I'm coming from the perspective of you doing what makes you happy. What you're comfortable with. That's the perspective that I'm coming from. Because like Lady mentioned again, and I'm repeating that, there's people that do all the effects and every necessity that they need to do for their post, but they still don't get the attraction, right? But there's some people, on the other hand, that maybe just post a picture of maybe their dog just walking or something, and it gets like 1 million likes. So it just depends on how you see it.
Yeah, it's true. So before the show, I had the privilege of talking to social media influencer Cassie for her thoughts on just what image is. And here's what she had to say. Hi, Cassie. How important is it to portray the right social media image? And is there such thing as the right image online?
I think this is a kind of a hard question, because when you say the right social media image, I feel like it's what's right for you, the person, and for the social media influencer, and also what's authentic to you. I think it's hard to say what the right social media image is, and there's a lot of pressure on influencers to portray a certain lifestyle or portray a certain way of living. But I think whatever is authentic to you and true to yourself will be the right image for you. So that's what I think.
So when you say there's pressures on influencers, where does that pressure come from?
I think just social media in general. So like the industry in general, and what it's about, and how you basically make your money, and how you actually are that social media influencer. I feel like there's two parts to it. So there's you sharing your voice, your truth, things you like, etc. And then there's people who obviously want to use you, whether it be for ads or to share their whatever their brand is with your audience. And I think that can be kind of tricky, because you obviously want to come across the best way possible, but you also, that is your job. So it's like finding that balance between your voice and the brand's voice, and try not to mislead or show anything that's misleading to your audience. And I think with that comes a lot of pressure. So yeah. Right.
So you feel like sometimes the brands that you end up working with kind of shapes what you put out there as an influencer?
I think that's what I'm saying. As the influencer, because with me, if I don't like the product, it's not something I'd actually buy, not something I'll actually use, I'll turn it down. But again, money is involved. For someone else, there might be a brand or something that wants to work with them. They're paying them quite a high rate, and maybe the product is not something that's really in line with their brand. So that's where it can become a lot of pressure, because it's like you want to obviously give your best to your audience, but then this is your job. So it kind of depends on the influencer. So yeah. Right.
Well, thank you, Cassie, for joining. It's been a great pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Right, so that was Cassie on the VT talking about the role of social media and image there. So, Lady, she mentioned something, she mentioned sometimes that, their influences, she goes based on trying to be as authentic as possible, and also mentioned things like, there's certain brands that if she doesn't really like, she probably turns it down. However, when there's money involved, she has to kind of make that careful judgment, So the question I have is, how do you kind of decipher which sort of image to align yourself with and how people can see that, especially when there's money involved? How do you kind of draw that line? You know, I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, as someone who isn't a social media influencer, I'm not sure how I'd approach that.
What if you were? If you were a social media?
No, I mean, I understand for them and for somebody who is a social media influencer, it is a job. They've taken upon themselves, it goes beyond posting a lovely photo. It's now something that is an everyday part of them. So when they wake up to when they go to sleep, from editing to creating, as I said, creating that vision of what they want people to see. And I guess what you said before earlier about what is comfortable. See, the thing is about authenticity is what you would, I guess there's a difference between being authentic and being comfortable, and I feel like they're kind of a bit opposite, because to be completely authentic is to show everything that is uncomfortable and comfortable at the same time.
Absolutely.
In the same way, when you're approaching, brands that are approaching you about maybe, I don't know, a powder drink that helps you lose weight, but then at the same time you're promoting this to girls that they don't like how they look and they want to look like you or like that person. They think if I have this drink, then maybe I can attain that. Then you're kind of it's a fine line.
Absolutely.
Because I guess at the same time, if you're not the person that's actively showing, well, listen guys, I'm actually exercising and sometimes I take this on the side and also I have a healthy balanced diet, but don't think this is the only way to go about it, but also love your body. It's such a conflict because I feel like it gets really political. You have to say everything without, saying too much at the same time. So in terms of choosing a brand that's going to pay you.
Yeah. So it's a bit like, you know the adverts where like it's like a drugs advert. I don't know if you've seen the American drug adverts where they tell you all the wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's this small print where they quickly read of the side effects of all these, what the drugs can. And I think what you're saying and what I'm hearing from you is that is the other side of it. So whilst you paint this picture perfect thing, you also have a small print.
Yeah.
And always try and show the small print for those who who want to kind of go thorough enough to read that small print.
I think that, there has to be some sort of concessions. That even if you think about how businesses are built, is everybody completely 100% authentic all the way up to that point where they're like CEO. There are points in their times where they have to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. We'll continue this conversation shortly. So we're going to take a short break now, but please join us again for part 2, where we'll be taking a closer look at how social media can be regulated. See you soon.
Look them in the eyes and tell them you're doing all you can to stop the spread of COVID-19. Stay home, protect the NHS, save lives.
This lagoon rarely dips below 30 degrees. Surrounded by lava rock, these reviving waters are brimming with minerals and full of magnificent bubbles.
Flipping heck, I'm a new woman.
Radox Mineral Therapy. Life's better with bubbles.
Get fashion frames from just £6 a pair, with prescription lenses and coatings included. That's Select Specs style and Select Specs value at selectspecs.com.
Whenever you have something really cold or really hot, and then you get this short, sharp kind of sensation through your teeth, that's sensitivity. I always recommend Sensodyne, and I've had people coming back to me saying it works.
Care wildly with with £10 off your first order at bloomandwild.com.
Introducing Tuco, the king of all apps, bringing every service imaginable under one roof. Imagine having one single app that could do everything you've ever needed. Tuco is an all-inclusive app where users can shop for all their needs right in one place. Need to do your grocery shopping, hire a taxi, find a plumber, or even a hairdresser locally? We've got you covered. Not only will Tuco make life easier by bringing all your needs into one place, but we're helping thousands of local service providers to reach new clients and grow their business. With Tuco, we've got everything you can ever imagine. Get ready for things to get a whole lot easier. It is the go-to application for every possible need. Now you can even shop at the mall without ever leaving the comfort of your home. Collect or get things delivered to you at your own convenience. Download the app today and discover why it's everyone's favorite app. Now available from App Store or Google Play. Get connected.
Welcome back to Your Voice with me, Gabriel Renu, where we are discussing social media, its influences and what it is to have an online image. In this part, we'll be looking at how social media platforms can be regulated. But before we get back to the main topic of discussion, I want to share with you this video of the not so pleasant side of a social media personality's world. This is singer-songwriter Chloe Bailey addressing the online backlash to one of her recent viral posts.
For every woman out there, don't change who you are to make society feel comfortable. And I'm telling myself that's not what I'm going to do. And even when I posted the video yesterday, I was posting it because I was saging and doing Palo Santo, and I was like, let's spread positive vibes. I didn't even really notice you all would talk about my ass, because I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just walking in for 1 second, 2 seconds, you know? And I feel like I've shown my ass more than I have with that. Like, if you look at our performance videos, the last performance we had in December, like, I was just so excited and on stage and just being myself. So, I don't know. I just felt it was important to address it so you guys get to kind of get to know who I am more inside. And it's really hard for me to think of myself as a sexual being or an attractive being. And I see all the uproar about my posts and stuff. I'm a bit confused. Like, I really don't understand, because I've never seen myself in that way or in that light. So I take it as a huge compliment that you all even think of me as a sexual, sexy being. And, you know, it's never, I don't post what I post for people to, I don't post what I post to get attention. I don't need that. I am a very spiritual person, and I feel like during quarantine I got really close to God. So even in the lowest moments when I felt like people weren't seeing me, when people weren't paying attention to me, God was. And I've learned I don't need outside attention. So you all seeing what I'm posting is just me being me.
Singer-songwriter Chloe Bailey there, reacting to negative backlash to one of her recent posts. An aspect of the job which most influencers will sadly be all too familiar with. Well, still with me in the studio I have guests, Lady Polis, Andy McKernis, and also joining us now in the studio, well, please welcome artist manager and media strategist Steve Osage. Now, for the benefit of those who don't know what the video of that video was, that was Chloe reacting to a video she posted. She was dancing, and I think she was going to light a candle in her room, and she was dressed in a scantily clad outfit. And I think as based on that footage, she got a lot of backlash, and it was probably mostly negative, because I'm not sure if she was known for that particular, you know, showing that bit there. You know, so what is your take on that, lady? Because do you feel like, you know, did she have to justify herself? Was she really doing it for attention or not? Because she's not used to wearing that, and then maybe most of her followers were kind of taken aback by seeing that footage.
Well, goodness, I don't know who she is. as a person, we don't know who she is. She is somebody who is in the
she's got over 1 million followers.
Oh yeah,
So
I know.
she's
No,
got
I mean
a
I know
good
who
few
she is,
followers.
but I don't know who she is as a person,
Right,
we're not friends.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, I mean, one side of me is like, she doesn't actually have to. She doesn't need to actually put that video up there,
Right.
because it's always back to this thing. If it was a man, and he was basically topless, or even I don't even know how scantily clad it was, but whatever it may be, it wouldn't be the same reaction. It would probably be like, wow, this is amazing. He's probably being really cutesy about it. People will love that. But because it's her and because of how beautiful she is, and maybe how she looks as well in her body, people are going over the top about it. And I feel like if this is something that she wants to put, if this is something that she wants to post, then I don't know why people are so excited to just jump on that bandwagon. And I don't feel like she needs to be making videos like that. It's like the kind of video you make when you make a big mistake. Like do you know what I'm saying? It seems like it's gone too far. I mean, on the other side, I would say, knowingly how an audience would react, it might have not been the best idea to maybe post that. Though it might have come from an innocent sort of way, you have to understand that people don't see everything the way you would see it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's very complicated. I don't know how to say it. As a woman, I just kind of feel like it was unnecessary. She didn't need to give excuses for that.
Okay, Steve, what are your thoughts? What do you think? Did you think was she doing it for attention, or didn't know what the backlash would be?
I mean, I think also we live in this whole cancel culture all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So what was acceptable 3-4 years ago, a year ago, all of a sudden, everybody wants to get cancelled for the slightest thing. When it comes to social, you also have to understand that you control the universe that you allow people to see. So it's within your remit to be able to do that. And I think also, I guess, in the space we're in, you also have to be careful what you put out, because obviously you also have to understand that there's going to always be reactions to whatever it is that you do. But more so, I think also as individuals, we also focus on the 5 bad comments and not realizing that you have 1 million people that are celebrating you. You know, so when people say a backlash in what sense?
Yeah.
Is it that that's all you saw? But what about the other millions of fans of hers that didn't were still celebrating her? You know what I mean? So at times, how do you judge, or how do you kind of balance out, it's a backlash, but based on whose gauge or whose reference?
Yeah. So let's talk about, the regulation of social media. Do you think, Amdi, based on your sort of understanding and experience, do you think social media should be regulated?
I think to some extent, because like we were discussing about Chloe now, for every action there's a reaction. Right. You got 1 million followers. There's people following you. What are you teaching them? What are you showing them? Right. And naturally, when you see a negative comment, you're probably going to respond more to a negative comment than
500
than the 500 positive comments. So it's something that you should expect. Like if you did something on social media that you felt like that's maybe you're shaking your backside or whatnot, there's gonna be a reaction for that. That's a normal thing. I just feel like when you have a platform such as 1 million followers, and we're talking about 1 million people. Like if 1 million people came in here, it will be crowded. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what are you portraying to these people? That's what people need to think. And actions that you make now, you're gonna have to look back. A couple of years later, you're gonna look back. So if you ask me, yes, they should be regulated, 100%.
So there's the one side, Steve, about the argument and the debate for regulation online. And there's the other side who thinks about, should people now pay to go online? So people who are online, should you pay a monthly subscription to be online? Now, I know you're thinking why, but that way, what happens is that you get rid of, you get to own the information that's being shared, because don't forget, a lot of these social medias are making money or generating income from selling your information to third parties and marketers. And that's the way. So if you now pay, you now decide where your information goes to. And the other side is that it also gets rid of trolls, so you can actually know who the troll is, because if you're paid, you have to pay up. You use your real details. You can't just use a fake email account. What are your thoughts about? So which one will be the better option? More regulation or a subscription-based social media?
I think better regulation and education. Because if you think about what social media has allowed us to be able to experience and to be knowledgeable about. I mean, if you look at the uprising that's happened in a lot of different countries, some atrocities that have happened that would have never come to light, if not because of social media. If you look at what happened in Nigeria in regards to the SARS, that would have never had the momentum it did, if not because of social media. So by you now trying to cut that by its legs, you're going to limit. I mean, people that came up with that were mostly students. So if you're asking them to pay, the government can now use that as a medium or as a means to control who receives information in itself. So that's why I'm saying it's better to have better regulation, but education about the best practices, or these are the reactions that could happen if you do A, B, or C. But trying to put a price on something, once you start to price something out of the market, then you're really kind of controlling who has access to that thing or not.
So how do you deal with the information, lady? How would you deal with, because if Steve is saying, don't subscribe, and information, how can one kind of deal with managing how social media sells your data? Because let's be honest, I don't know if that's happened to you. I don't know if it's happened to you before. Looking online, you're talking about something, and you go online.
And you find it. That
it.
happens to me all the time.
It's happened to you.
Yeah, it's really scary.
So that goes to show you that your information is being farmed.
Yeah.
And it's being listened to, and it's always happening. So, and they're marketing to you, whether you like it plus not, consciously or subconsciously. There are hidden persuasions in the way. So, and that's not going to stop. So, and that's always going to happen as long as you sign up to that, because you're voluntarily giving them your information. Yeah. So how do we kind of get rid of or balance or kind of manage that situation?
Can it be balanced? I mean, you have Facebook, and Facebook has WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Yeah, am I right?
And they have Instagram.
They have Instagram. So at the end of the day, it depends. Can you even do anything?
I read the stats. They said if Facebook was a country, it would be the third biggest country in the world.
That's crazy.
Also, can I quickly say this? But those platforms are free. They've given it to you for free. You have a choice.
Wow. What is free? Because you're selling your data and your information. So it's technically not free.
Yeah, but they have to make money somehow. Do you know the amount that goes into creating those different platforms for you? So, and that's the thing. Now we've got to the stage where you've enjoyed this for so long.
We're going to have to continue this conversation in part 3. So that's the end of part 2. Join us after the break, where we'll be looking at some potentially harmful false truths on social media and the extreme lengths some social influencers will go in order to paint their lives in the perfect online light. See you after the break.
Look them in the eyes and tell them you're doing all you can to stop the spread of COVID-19. Stay home, protect the NHS, save lives.
Lynx Africa Body Wash. Get knockout clean.
Strength is man. Inaptius. Fragrance for man.
Oi, cut it out.
Man is...
Oh, what's happening?
Forget all this nonsense and use your nose. Aftershaves, deodorants, and roll-ons, they're all about smelling good, not success or being someone you ain't, so grab yourself some brew. It just smells good. No messing about.
Pulse is ready.
Get prescription glasses from just £6 a pair at Select Specs, the online optician with over 27,000 5-star reviews. SelectSpecs.com.
You switch broadband. You binge the whole series.
Visit uswitch.com now to see if you could get a better broadband deal.
When you splash it, then you bish, bash, bash it, loud boy, yeah!
New Cif Anti-Bac and Shine kills 99.9% of bacteria and viruses, including coronavirus. and is made with a 100% naturally derived cleaning agent, helping to keep your home safe for the whole family. Sif, hello beautiful.
Did you know some people live with HIV for years without showing any symptoms? It's National HIV Testing Week, a perfect time to have a test. If you have HIV, finding out means you can start treatment and stay healthy. Test negative, you get peace of mind. Testing is easy, free, and confidential. You can even test at home. Give HIV the finger. A finger prick test is all it takes. Get a free test at freetesting.hiv.
Hello and welcome back to Your Voice, where we're delving into the modern phenomena that is social media and the lives of its stars. We're going to take it straight back to the chat, and I'm pleased to welcome back Amdi McKernis, Steve Osage, and Lady Paulus. So, Steve, you know, there's a lot of the fake it till you make it, this portrayal, you know, of the imagery of people, you know, who has had to live in a certain lifestyle, you know. And I've noticed, one thing I've noticed recently over the last few years, there's been a huge increase of cosmetic surgery, especially amongst young people. You know, how much some of these influencers and celebrities should be held accountable for some of this sort of image portrayal which they portray online?
I mean, when you say hold them accountable, they're not the individuals that are actually taking those actions. They're not their parents. They're not forcing them to do it. If I don't do, okay, I'm a dad. I have 2 boys and 3 girls. If I don't do the work I'm supposed to do and educating them properly, then they can easily be influenced by other people in itself. So we're the ones that make them influencers. Most of them are just putting up content and living their authentic self. Because we tell everyone, live your authentic self.
Are they really living their authentic self?
Yeah, but for them, well, who are you to tell them what their authentic self is?
Well, you see, the thing is, the line bit is that, you know, there's a bit where you know you've been under the knife, but you make it out like you've been hit in the gym, you know. So, yeah. But and then you make this exercise. I'm sure Anthony knows a bit about that.
Yeah, no, 100%, because there's a lot of clients. You know, I've trained quite, you know, a huge number of clients over the years. Some of them go through the surgeries, but they don't talk about it. Some of them make it out like that's their natural, you know, look or whatnot. Now, like Steve mentioned, these individuals that take part in this, I think it all boils down to where they're coming from, their home, what their parents are teaching them. Because at the end of the day, they're going to go out there and make these decisions by themselves. If you ask me what I think about it personally, I just want a natural situation where you can work towards your goals, achieve what you want to achieve naturally.
Yeah.
That's what I believe in. But unfortunately, this is the norm right now, and a lot of people are doing it. There's people that's lost their lives doing this. There's people that's been affected. Sometimes it even puts pressure on their peers and other people feeling like, oh, this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
Just so I need to be like this or I need to be like that. But whereas you can actually put in the work. It's like if you don't put in the work, you don't deserve it. But that's not the world we're living in today. It's like, let's get the easier way. Let's do it this way.
Microwave situation,
that's
what we're in.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you're going to get takeout all the time. You don't want to cook food at home. At some point, it's going to catch up with you.
Yeah.
So,
yes,
I mean...
Andy makes a good point. You know, people will take it, people say they'll pretend they can cook. And as just buttressing what Amdi said, so they take a takeout, put it on a plate, and take a selfie and take a shot of it, and post it online like they made it.
Well, that's what advertising is.
So how much? How much of that is like reality, and why should people be doing that? Why should you be faking it till you make it?
I mean, at the end of the day, it becomes everything to do with their psyche, their personality, who they are, how they've been brought up. As Amdi said, it's all about what is the kind of thoughts that are going through their mind. At the end of the day, if somebody wants to get a takeout and take a picture of it and be like, oh, I cooked today, good for them. It's actually, it's more something that would affect them than it should affect other people. At the end of the day, if I go on social media and every time I see somebody put this and that up and I'm immediately influenced it influence from it, then there's something, it says a lot about myself and how I perceive myself and what I think I should be attaining to.
But Steve, let's be totally honest here. We've all been young before. I know that I've had huge celebrities that I look up to, and anything they do, I'm in awe of it, you know. And I mean, that is a form of influence of some sort. So let's not pretend we've never been a teenager before and we've been influenced. So yes, at this, we're all grown up now, but you know, maybe we're influenced less. But let's not forget, there are young people out there who are on social media who are also looking at these images and being hugely influenced by that.
Exactly, and that's my point. Sorry to call you.
No, please go ahead.
That's my point, because things that you do, actions that you make now, you need to look at the younger people coming up. What are you teaching them? That's what a lot of people don't think about, and that's that's where I'm coming from.
No, but I get what you're saying, but I think at the same time, that puts a lot of pressure on every single post that somebody puts up. It's okay to like think about the generation coming up, but if you have to think about them every single time you post, that's exhausting. And I want to say that especially with Instagram, it's a lot to do with the aesthetics. I guess if you want to post any random photo, that's up to you, but Instagram was actually initially created for those people who wanted to express themselves in creative ways and show their everyday lives. So at the end of the day, that is what they're showing.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. But also, if you think about it, listen, from movies to magazines, this has been happening way before now. Influential marketing has been happening before social media. Exactly. It's just that everybody gets to see it a lot faster in the click of a button. Yeah. The fact is, we live in a society that is a microwavable society. Everybody wants everything in 5 seconds. Like you said, if I teach my son that, listen, you can't get anything by the easy way. You got to work hard for it. If anything comes to you easy, you need to think twice about it. Yeah. So the people now that are looking at those individuals or looking at those kind of situations and thinking, oh yeah, I want that. I want to just have a quick fix. It's not going to last long. You know what I mean? But if you're willing to work hard for it, if you want a six-pack and you're willing to go 2 years to get that six-pack instead of going on and need the knife to get it, then it's now a perception of hard work or the easy way out. And most of the time, unfortunately, people want the easy way out, a microwavable situation. 5 seconds, I have it, and that's life.
Not necessarily, because there's influence, and what is influence? Sometimes you need to stop taking influence in such a negative way. You have to also think of influence as inspiring somebody.
No, but definitely. But if you're influenced in a negative way, that choice, you're allowing yourself to be influenced. I can see a lot of things from when I was a kid, but I refuse to allow things to influence me if that is not my choice, because the responsibility comes back now to me.
Yeah, but if you don't see something, you can't aspire to it. For instance, a lot of the times, if you're talking about movies and stuff like that, if black women were not able to see themselves on screen, could they ever think that they could actually be on screen?
Right. Of course, I'm not saying it from a negative perspective, but I'm like, we're blaming social media for the decay of certain things in society now. That influence has been happening way before social media came through.
Right, of course.
You know what I mean? So for good and bad, both ways. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. So like, how do you blame social now? Why won't we be blaming all the Jackie Chan movies or the Commando movies we've been watching, before seeing those stuff?
But there has been an increase in depression and anxiety amongst young women, and based on the use of social media. And whilst we're not trying to kind of put everything at the feet of social media, I think they need to start taking some sort of accountability. I don't know about you, when I wake up, and let me tell you my ritual, when I wake up, the first thing I do, I'll be honest, and I'm sure everybody's guilty. I pick up my phone and I look at my socials, and I also look at my likes. And I'm a grown man.
That is right. That's why some of the social platforms like Instagram, they're taking away the like button, because they know that's a vanity matrix to stop you looking at every single time you get that, every time you hear that ping, it releases certain chemicals in your head to think, that kind of feeling.
They've taken likes not for everybody. I know some people still have it. I have it.
That's the testing it.
So they're still working out. So there's still people out there who do it for the likes, who do it for
exactly. And just to add, it's all in the mind. Right? That's how I see it. Like you said, you wake up in the morning, first thing you do, you go to your phone. I was probably doing that not up to like 2-3 months ago. I said to myself, as soon as I wake up, I'm just going to pray. I'm going to say a prayer.
Your routine.
I'm going to change my routine. I want to say a prayer, stay off my phone for a minute, because it's controlling you. It's controlling your mind. That's why everything is so predictable. You think of something, you check your phone, it's there. All that reoccurrence every single day, and it's not just you doing it. It's over 200 million people doing it right now. Even as we're speaking right now, there's people checking their phones.
Absolutely.
Right? So That's the point.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you use, I don't know, Instagram? Why do you use it?
Well, for me, I use Instagram as a platform to showcase, what I do or what my business. So, for example.
For example, if you post something up and you're hoping that people will be able to see and see what you do and be able to acknowledge that, you need to know that through what? Likes? Otherwise, how else if people don't like or comment, hear me out. If people don't like or comment, you won't know if it was received well. For all you know, because you saw that there was 0 likes and 0 comments, you thought that wasn't the right thing to put up. Or maybe that's not what I want people to show. If it is something that you're selling about yourself, and guess what, it can be, you don't have to be in an active sort of business. You are the business itself. You're promoting yourself. If you don't get the likes and you don't get the comments, then it means that you're doing something wrong.
Right.
Well,
I know it's wrong to say that, picking up my phone in the morning and I need to check that immediately to know what's going on. But if you're every day making sure that you're running your business, which is you want to know what's happening. I'm not saying be addicted to your phone, because I do end up scrolling for 3 hours. But
no, that's a brilliant point. But what I'm trying to say is, okay, for me, for example, most of my clients are not from social media. There's a lot of my clients that I work with now, and they're like, oh my God, I don't want to be on social media. As soon as you put a video up and you're like, you want to film them doing something, they're like, no, please, I don't want to be. There's people like that. There's people that see your post and don't say nothing. They don't like you, but then they send you a message. They send you a message.
It's like haters.
Yeah, there's people that comment on my post and actually delete it. And actually, a girl once commented on my post and deleted it. So out of the blue, I just thought, let me message her. So I messaged her. I'm like, hey, did you just comment on my post and delete? She's like, oh yeah, because I didn't want everyone to see my comment. You know what I mean? So people think differently. You know what I mean? So it's like
that's really funny that you actually saw that.
Yeah, no, because I saw it and it went so quick. I was like, what? Am I seeing double?
By the time you liked it, it wasn't there.
I messaged her. She said that to me. She said, okay, is this what you do, or how can we do this? But she doesn't want to be out there putting that message on my.
But that's a lot
on my page. So that's where I'm coming from. A lot of people that I work with, they're probably not even on social media.
Right.
They're about, but they don't want to.
That person was on social media.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean he wasn't far from social. But because what I tell clients now that I work with the agency that I obviously run, is those are vanity metrics. Because somebody comments or likes, that doesn't mean they're even going to become a customer of yours.
Exactly.
You understand? Because if you're looking at, I look at the analytics, I look at my data, and most of the people that a lot of people don't even comment or even like most of the stuff. I will see somebody a couple of months down the line, a couple later, they're like, oh, Steve, I saw that post. I'm like, what do you mean? But I never saw. So like, I used to, like you said, I used to be like that, but I had to be intentional in making that not affect. No, the algorithm still plays a part in it.
Sorry, guys, we're going to have to end it there and part 3. So that's at the end of part 3. Join us after the break when we'll be looking at the influences to the influencers and wrapping up the discussion on this edition of Your Voice. Don't go anywhere.
Introducing Tuco, the king of all apps, bringing every service imaginable under one roof. Imagine having one single app that could do everything you've ever needed. Tuco is an all-inclusive app where users can shop for all their needs right in one place. Need to do your grocery shopping, hire a taxi, find a plumber, or even a hairdresser locally? We've got you covered. Not only will Tuco make life easier by bringing all your needs into one place, but we're helping thousands of local service providers to reach new clients and grow their business. With Tuco, we've got everything you can ever imagine. Get ready for things to get a whole lot easier. It is the go-to application for every possible need. Now you can even shop at the mall without ever leaving the comfort of your home. Collect or get things delivered to you at your own convenience. Download the app today and discover why it's everyone's favorite app. Now available from App Store or Google Play. Get connected.
This lagoon rarely dips below 30 degrees. Surrounded by lava rock, these reviving waters are brimming with minerals and full of magnificent bubbles.
Flipping heck, I'm a new woman.
Radox Mineral Therapy. Life's better with bubbles.
If you'd like a fast payment for your unwanted gold and jewellery, text GOLD to 85077 now. You'll get your secure gold pack by post tomorrow, and you just need to pop your gold in, seal the free post package and send it back to us. It's 100% guaranteed and insured, and then in 48 hours you could be paid by same-day transfer. So visit textgold.co.uk or start now by texting GOLD to 85077.
Whenever you have something really cold or really hot, and then you get this short, sharp kind of sensation through your teeth, that's sensitivity. I always recommend Sensodyne, and I've had people coming back to me saying it works.
Care wildly with £10 off your first order at bloomandwild.com.
At Ward Remit, we understand what the journey is about, how it can sometimes take a little distance to bring us a little closer together. With ways to save more when you send more, Ward Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
Hello and welcome back to Your Voice. In this final part of today's show, we're going to be looking at why are so few influencers keen to bear any ugly truths in what they paint as an otherwise fairy tale. In a world where so many struggling, why do the vast majority continue to tease their followers with endless pictures of themselves catching rays on beaches and rubbing shoulders with the stars? Before we get back to the final section of discussion, I want to share with you this video courtesy of former Apprentice star Thomas Skinner, who asked just that in his own unique style.
In this moment in time, I think influencers should go and do one. And let me tell you why I should think that. Now, I'm not going to say any names here, but a good friend of mine, his little boy, he's 12 years old, come back to my pal, who's been out of work because it's pandemic and he's struggling at the moment, right? And he wants a pair of trainers that are 450 quid because he's seen them on the Instagram, on so-and-so's profile, they're the ones to have, yeah? Now, my mate can't afford them, right? And he's had birds of his little boy over a pair of trainers that he wants to buy them for him, he'd love to buy them for him, but he can't in a minute. And so many families are in that position, that all these influencers, they live a life that ain't realistic, yeah? So they're out in Dubai giving it large, they're in like yachts, or they're in restaurants, they're wearing 50 grand kettles, they're going and giving it large. You don't just get that overnight, that takes a lot of hard work. Listen, I have got a successful business, I go to work every single day of my life, I couldn't afford to live like that, you know what I mean? Maybe in 10 or 15 years time, yeah, you know what I mean? When I'm starting to level out and I ain't got to be in the van every day, they're not going to take the gas off. They're not going to do those in Dubai. They're not going to go and buy the Ferraris and the Porsches. But I'm going to graft and I'm going to work hard and I'm going to earn it myself. And I think a lot of these Instagram influencers are portraying a life that you cannot afford, you cannot have. And their kids are looking up to them, and I think it's wrong because they see them having all the bits and pieces. It ain't right. Listen, the kids should be looking up to people who work hard, the doctors, the nurses, the teachers, yeah? People that go to work for a living and earn it the right way, the straight way. Honestly, like, and it really upsets me that Instagram and companies are getting away with it, you know what I mean? Show kids a bit of hard work, show kids how to go and get a day's money properly and graft for it, and they'll value it 10 times better. All right, that's me rant over. Have a lovely day. And influencers, stop promoting kids can't afford, all right? Bosh.
So please welcome back one last time Andy McKernas, Steve Osage and Lady Paulus. You know, we can laugh at what you know, Thomas has just said there, Steve, but there is some truth to what he says. So how can influencers be able to kind of show the good, the bad and the ugly side of being an influencer? You can't just show them 50 grand kettles, as Thomas said there. You know, you have to show them the balance. I know you said that you kind of educate your child and tell them to do, what to do. But there are people out there, like I keep saying, who are watching these influencers and working and doing what they, and follow and being influenced by what they do.
Yeah, but hold on, who are we blaming here? Like, are we blaming the influencers for showcasing a life that maybe they want to aspire to? Because, listen, at times, with my son and with my kids, there are certain things that they see and they're like, Mom, Dad, I want this. I'm like, Bishop, Megan, right now, we can't afford this. Like, you know how hard we're working, yeah? We'll get it later. And you know what my son will tell me? Dad, no problem, I don't need it right now. I'll get it later. Regardless of whatever he's saying. Because again, you control the reality that you show. I cannot control what somebody else does. Because if you're not trying to say they should balance out, but do we all show all aspects of our life, good, bad, and the ugly?
But don't you think it's time we start to do that? Because that way it gives the balance.
But that's your choice.
But there are people out there who are taking every single, they grab every single word everybody says online.
Okay, they grab, but if it's, what makes you think if it's not that, it's going to be something else? So it shouldn't be the education, should be to the individual that's allowing those things to influence them to say, listen, some of these things that you see is not real life. That's not the way it should be. This is how you need to position your aspiration. This is what you need to aim to. You cannot, those guys are the influencers are in the business of trying to get paid and making money. Right. If they show a certain lifestyle because they want a brand to come and give them money.
Right. So ladies, shouldn't the influencers be responsible for showing that side as well as showing the not so good side and say, look, I know I show all these beautiful lifestyle, I live in Dubai, but it took me 20 years to get here. Shouldn't they be doing that as well?
I'm sorry, but I was just really tired watching that video, perfectly honest.
Why were you tired?
Because, I mean, I think it's so unnecessary to sit there and blame everybody.
Thank you.
You're doing this, you're doing that, my kid, my friend, and I'm sorry. Like,
I'm working hard, you're not.
I understand, but they are working hard in their own way, in their respective way. They're doing their jobs. But for a child to look at trainers and think, I want those, and then ask the parents, and then, that's the parent not teaching their child.
Exactly.
That's got nothing to do with it.
You know what, sorry to cut you, you know what you're saying right now? I have a friend, Tunde Ednot, that's an influencer, right? I went to Atlanta and Tunde gets up at about 4 o'clock in the morning curating his post, and he works for nearly 12 hours curating a post, writing a caption, like putting in work. People think
why is he not showing that? Why is he not telling people that story?
But does he show everyone how he's painting a house or the grafting that he's doing?
Yeah, he is.
Because they just want you to see the finished
work. No, but that's fine. He's entitled to do that because that is him. If a doctor wants to go and then post what he's doing, I'm sorry, surgeries, I don't know, post himself in his what he's wearing, and fine, people aspire to that, that's great. Yeah. You're also entitled to do that. The thing about social media is that it is free and available, and everyone is entitled to use it.
So I understand what all of you are saying here, and I think let's take a step back and take ourselves out of it. We're all grown people in this, on this floor. There are people out there who can't make that decision that we're making, sensible, right decision. There are people who are being influenced by these influences, and it's important that we also put ourselves in that position. I know when I was 15, 14 years old, and I was looking up to my star or looking up to my hero, I looked at everything from the clothes they wear, how they carry themselves, the music, and I was influenced. I wasn't asking my parents for the stuff, but I was looking at it and I thought, I need a bit of that. You know what I mean? I want a piece of that. So there are people out there, and let's remove ourselves from being adults and making sensible judgments. But there are people out there who are doing exactly that.
I'll tell you what, in terms of, I guess within what's going on now with COVID and everything, when you see people like, I don't want to name people because I don't really know them personally, but okay, let's say the Kardashians. They've gone on an exclusive trip somewhere and they're enjoying life, even though we're all meant to be basically staying home and isolating ourselves and don't be near people and don't touch or look at anybody. But they are out there enjoying the sun and everything like that. And a lot of people will be like, wait, that's not fair. There's a different level. There's a different, there's such a gap. And I guess, but that's what it shows, but that doesn't, they maybe should be held responsible for that.
Yeah.
But in terms of their everyday life.
No. Okay, I understand that. So here's the question. So how can we kind of get a fine balance when it comes to, because look, let's not pretend that there are not people out there who are getting depressed and getting anxiety pressures because of images that they see online. Because let's not forget, these algorithms are creating what you call echo chambers, and all they see is all these images constantly being fed, and it's only a matter of time. So how can we get that balance right?
But also there's also a balance where based on what you are searching for. I watch a lot of motivational
Yeah.
content.
I
I
was
watch a
just
lot of
gonna
things that
add that.
inspire, so the algorithm knows that this is what I am searching for, and it
But
gives
you keep bringing it back to
no, but
yourself.
you're talking about balance.
Pretend that you're a 15-year-old or a 14-year-old who's watching these things.
Yeah, but
who doesn't have the
15-year-old?
sense that you have.
But what have you been taught before you got to that age? Why are we not tackling the root issue instead of now looking at it halfway up when it's now
So
a problem?
so you blaming the parents?
I'm not
for
blaming
what
the
they
parents.
see?
I'm just saying, listen, we're all the world we're living in is constantly changing. It's constantly evolving. If we don't understand how me and you never saw a computer till maybe we were like 12, 13. My 2 years old is using a computer now.
Yeah.
So if I don't understand how she uses that system, she's going to be left behind because the age we're going to, it's computerized.
I
So
mean,
if-
sorry,
Yeah,
sorry,
go ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Just to add, right? For everyone that's listening, social media is not real life. Yeah, let's just get that straight. Second of all, we're not blaming parents here, but I think there's a lot of parents that don't even know about social media.
They ignore
I've got aunties that, like distant aunties, they don't even know how it works. You know what I mean? And they've got young kids, that are on social media, looking at videos, looking at certain things, but they don't understand it.
But it,
right?
no, but
right?
it's-
So no, but it's like if you actually check it. So I just feel like he said, like Steve was saying, there's motivational topics out there. There's a lot of things that I search on YouTube or Instagram that's motivational, that could make an impact in people's lives and whatnot. But
Lady, very
it
quickly
all comes
before
down
we
to the
close for
household.
the show.
I mean, I was going to say my parents have social media. If you want to get it, you can get it. It's there and it's possible and it's available. And it's not just parents. You got to think about
Exactly.
the schools they go to, the kids that they interact with, what they say, what
The
they talk
environment
about.
they're in. Right.
And it's different. It's naturally going to be different from our age.
It's
Social media is not
naturally
going
going to
nowhere.
be
It's
different
not-
from our
it is
age.
not
So,
going
well,
nowhere.
that's all we have time for on
100%.
this edition of Your Voice. I'd like to thank my studio guests for such a weighty subject. It was so tough. Amdi McInnes, Steve Osage, and Lady Paulus. And thank you for watching. I'm Gabriel Redu. Look forward to seeing you again next week. Goodbye.
It seems extraordinary that there's nothing that the coronavirus doesn't touch.
All seen Black Lives Matter demonstrations.
Oppression is brutal.
It's unfortunate because I just feel like we're going down this road. We've been down this road before.
We've had